we're on a Caribbean heat scale.
Hot sauce. You know, eat it or get lost.
Tinkering, kept tinkering.
And you're like, I'm gonna get the police called on me.
I have no idea.
He's like,
Doesn't make it any less true.
This is the mild one?
This is the mild.
You're listening to The Hot Sauce Show, the place to meet hot sauce makers and enthusiasts. Let's jump right in.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Hot Sauce Show. My name is Zach, I am your host. Tonight we are in Huntsville, Alabama with Dyllan Russell of Sauce Daddy. Dyllan, thanks for talking with us tonight.
Thanks for letting me be here, man. It's good to finally meet you.
Yeah, this is great. I know we started planning this a while ago, and we're on our way out to Fiery Foods, and I'm so glad that we were able to connect, and this is right on the way, and get a little taste of Huntsville, a little taste of Sauce Daddy here. I've been thinking about this for over a month now, so I'm excited to get into it. But before we try it, where I like to always start is, how'd you get into this?
So it was a little bit of a COVID passion project. So I started the business in 2020, and every year I grow herbs and peppers out of my balcony. So that year I had habaneros, I had jalapeno plants, I had a couple of ghost peppers, but the only one that really took off was my habanero plant. So across the course of a month and a half, I probably had about 600 habanero peppers.
And why do you think, sorry to interrupt, why do you think the habanero is the one that took off?
I have no idea.
Just a sign.
I have no idea. I have not been able to replicate that habanero plant success before or since. It was like it was ordained or something.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, I like
yeah, but so I just had to figure out what I was going to do with all these peppers, right? So my mother's Caribbean. She's from Guyana. So I've watched her make pepper sauce my whole life, you know? So I've always enjoyed cooking for myself. I meal prep very often. So I just got into the kitchen, started tinkering around. I started pickling them first, and then...
Pickling the habaneros?
Yes.
Interesting, okay.
That's where it all started. I first started pickling them with garlic and shallots and things like that.
And is that a Caribbean thing, or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And my mom makes pepper sauce like that all the time. She
Really?
pickles the peppers with a bunch of other spices and other produce, and then she'll let them sort of do their thing in there, and then she'll blend them up, and she uses that as pepper sauce.
Wow, that is real. It's like a hot sauce, but kind of going the other direction.
Yeah, yeah.
Really cool. So anyway, sorry, you're making these sauces?
Yeah, but that's sort of where I got my start from. So I always got to give my credit to my mom. She definitely inspired me and gave me sort of the background to be able to be where I am now. Yeah. But 3 years later, you know, I just kept tinkering with the recipe. And then one day I had a camping trip that I was going to with some of my buddies, and I was in charge of the food. So I grabbed a pack of frozen Bubba burgers and decided I was going to surprise them with some of the sauce, threw some sauce on there when we got out there, and they all loved it. They were like, man, you gotta make something out of this.
Did you tell them it was yours?
I did not.
So you're just like, oh yeah, just pick it. I don't know. I just grabbed something.
Yeah, you know, I just found a little something in the frozen section.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was right next to it. That's great. So you put it on the burgers on this camping trip. Yeah. And then you just watched them. You're like, what are they going to say?
Creepily just looking at them.
That's really good.
But they all explode. They're like, oh man, this is so good. This is so good.
And this is your 3 years in at this point?
No, that was when I first started. That's when I first started.
Gotcha.
That was before. That was the moment where I decided, I was like, okay, I might be able to pursue this as a business.
Yeah, you might have something. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a really great story. Where does the name come from?
So actually, that was just something that happened organically. After I got that feedback from that camping trip, then I took it to some of my jiu-jitsu buddies, because I do jiu-jitsu. I practice at 10th Planet Huntsville. So I brought it to my guys at the gym. And they're like, oh man, this is so great. What should you call it? And they're like, you're like the Sauce Daddy. So I was like, hey, that kind of rolls off the tongue. I like that. So that's where it came from.
Yeah, that's great. And they've all had it, and I take it they enjoy it.
Yeah. Those are my guys. They all love it.
That's good. And you still have the camping friends, I'm assuming, that do all that. Any challenges when you were starting off with, once you got to the point where, okay, I think I have something, but how am I going to get to the next level? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so probably the hardest part was just sort of turning unknown unknowns into known unknowns, you know? Just when I first started out, just trying to figure out that whole process of turning something that I was making in my kitchen into a legitimate hot sauce business. There was a lot of researching, a lot of late nights searching on hot sauce forums, just trying to just picking up stuff piecemeal, you know? So that was definitely one of my biggest struggles starting out, just trying to figure out what that information was, because hot sauce is one of the few foods that you can't operate under cottage laws with. Right. So just trying to figure out how to navigate that space, finding a commissary kitchen, then to now where I'm looking for or interviewing co-packers. That was probably the hardest part, just sort of finding and collating information into a cohesive piece, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So you walk me through it then. So you came up with the sauce, you're making your kitchen, your steps to getting legal. So what was the first step after your kitchen and a home?
Next step after that was probably my process authority application. Okay. So had to go through all those steps, getting my process approved by process authority, letting him know how I was cooking the sauce, how I was filling the bottles, all those things. That in itself was a interesting and iterative process where I had to work with him, show him my process, have him tell me, okay, these are the things that you need to change. But then after we got through that, it was, I won't say that it was easy, but then the steps sort of aligned themselves. Now it's getting out into the community, now it's getting out to farmers markets, getting out in front of people, things like that.
So one of the big reasons I started the show was to just spread awareness and kind of an educational component. So you don't have to provide more details than you're uncomfortable with, but what were some of the things that he had you change to become in compliance with like your process?
So really it was just my level of detail. So when I first did it, there were it wasn't that my process was wrong. It was just that he needed it to be more detailed. Okay, so
you were throw it all in the pot, bring it up
exactly.
to 185.
You mix it together and you cook it.
Let it rip.
Yeah. Yeah. So just some of that terminology, hot fill hold, some of those things.
You were kind of already doing it,
exactly,
but you needed to document it.
I needed the language.
Do it the same way every time.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Get that quantitative process that you can repeat ad nauseum with no issues and have it look the same every time.
So now you're in a commercial kitchen, co-op commercial kitchen, and you're looking for a co-packer. What this is a great unique bottle. Why did you decide on a bottle like this instead of a 5-ounce woozy?
Well, that's honestly part of the reason why. So I've always liked flask bottles. I just like how they look. One of the hot sauces that I loved the most before I started making this one was, have you seen the Pain is Good? Pain is Good bottles, those flask bottles. I loved those bottles, and I liked how you had a really broad face that I thought really sort of opened up your design process.
Right. And it's like a lot of surface area.
Exactly.
For on the shelf for, you're at that versus, that's about the width of a woozy bottle.
So that's really what attracted me to the flask bottle. Also, I kind of like how you can sort of flip it, put it in your back pocket.
Take it out with you.
Yeah, people make jokes about that all the time when I'm at a farmer's market. So
tell me about this first sauce.
Yep. So this is our lime and basil hot sauce. All three of these have the same flavor profile, but it's just different levels of heat. So we have a mild, a medium, and a hot. So hot, hotter, and then too hot sauce. So it's got a habanero and a red serrano pepper base, vinegar based, as we talked about before, and then that lime. And that's the thing I like about it, because I really wanted something that had heat but prioritized flavor. I wanted a utility sauce that you could really put on anything and it would sort of incorporate into and enhance whatever you were eating. So what better for that than lime? Lime goes great. I'm not even sure why, but lime goes great on everything.
Like acid and that's the citrusy component of it. Yeah. So would you say what is kind of the inspiration of the sauce? Is kind of a Caribbean style? It's like talking about how your mother made sauces. Does this kind of call you back to your childhood?
It does. It does.
I love hearing that. All right, let's try it. We're doing a lot of talking.
Let's do it.
I'll have you open it up there. I'm going to get our tasting spoons.
All right.
Look at that. Oh, look at that. Looks like a nice thick mustard. Lots of treasures in it, as I like to say.
Yeah. That's something else that I liked, that I was looking for when I made the sauce. I don't know if you've ever had Matuk's pepper sauce.
No, I don't think so.
It's a pretty famous Caribbean pepper sauce. But one of the marquee details about it is that
I can smell it.
Yeah, you can smell that lime, right? And the vinegar. But here, I'll talk at you. Cheers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Smell the basil. Oh, yeah. Very unique. Wow. That's a really unique flavor. Really tasty. It's got the lime up front, the basil's up front. This is the mild one?
This is the mild. We're on a Caribbean heat scale.
Oh, okay. I missed that memo this morning when I was reading my briefs.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really tasty. I mean, I know you probably know that, but yeah, it's a lot more complex than I thought it was going to be. But really good. There's a lot of citrus, the vinegar, the basil. I don't know if I'm too familiar with basil and like Caribbean style cooking, so this is really, really nice for me to try. But like chicken and rice and fish. This is just just shoveling it in.
Yep.
Has your mom tried this?
Yes.
She approves it.
Yes, she loves it. She loves it.
Yeah.
She always says that she used to make hot sauce, but she doesn't anymore because I sort of took the mantle from her. She makes that joke all the time, especially when we go out to farmers markets. She comes out and helps me sometimes. It's funny because they always say you need to be paying her. She's your best salesman, but she says that all the time. That I sort of took the torch from her when it comes to making hot sauce.
So, talked about Sauce Daddy from, is it your jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Did I get that right? Okay. So that's where the name came from. So tell me about the guy with the mask and all of that and how you approach your branding of it all.
Yeah, so the mask actually came about pretty organically. So when I was making it, all the fumes from the sauce, I was in there dying. So I started wearing a gas mask when I was making the sauce. So
and you're like, I'm gonna get the police called on me. Like someone's gonna see in the window, like, what is this guy's in the kitchen
He's in there making
doing
napalm.
chemistry? Yeah, oh my gosh. He's like coughing. It's like he's not even doing it right.
Yeah, so that's where the mask came from. And then actually, funny enough, my logo looked very different from this when I first started. It was a camo background. The gas mask had like pink smoke billowing out of it, all sorts of things. But we did a pivot, or I guess a rebrand about maybe 9 months ago, where I reworked the label because I wanted something. I did really like my original label, but I wanted something that...
You did or didn't?
I did.
You did, okay.
Like it. But it was the first label I'd ever made, and there were a couple things that I didn't think about when I made that first label. That luckily I came into contact with some very helpful people, mainly a guy named Terry Chandler. He is the guy who helped me make this label, where he made me think about, okay, you like your label, but how does it read to the consumer? When I made that first label, I just essentially made a collection of a bunch of stuff that I thought was cool, But someone who's never seen your sauce, let's say they're walking down the hot sauce aisle or they're walking down the farmer's market aisle, and they turn and see your sauce on a shelf, and they turn around and they turn it around in their hands and they inspect it. Does it tell a story? Is it cohesive? Does it make sense? Those weren't things that were on the forefront of my mind when I made that first label. And I think that this label really hits a lot of those notes a lot better. And something else that I was thinking about was I wanted something that was clean, that was minimalistic, that anyone, regardless of what their interests were, would be able to connect with. Kind of like Apple, Apple has that very simple Apple logo, and it doesn't really matter what walk of life you're from. You can look at that and think that it's attractive, you know? So those were some of the things that I pulled from when it comes to sort of inspiration for the brand.
Yeah, that's a great story. So you simplified it, had the mask, has the chili peppers on there. As your brand grows and expands, you want people to see the mask and they'll know that's Sauce Daddy.
Yep.
Yeah. So besides Apple, is there any other brands that really inspire you or genres that you kind of see your direction going?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've been thinking about that, about where I want to take the brand next as we grow. And I really do want it to be an iterative process that I can involve our followers in. That's actually what we're doing right now. We're doing a campaign on social media where we're asking our followers to help us choose what our next product would be.
Oh, okay.
So the first thing we asked them was, okay, do you guys want merchandising, do you guys want to maybe some new hoodies, some hats, things like that, rash guards for my jiu-jitsu guys? Or would you like to make food products? So Sauce Daddy taco kits, new flavors, maybe Sauce Daddy like a Bloody Mary hot sauce mix, things like that. So the overwhelming response that we got was food. So next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to essentially do like a March Madness bracket. We're going to call it Merch Madness. And we're going to essentially have battles between some different food ideas that's going to allow our fans to choose the next product that we take to market.
That's a great idea.
So I thought that'd be really cool. But when it comes to what I'd like to portray next for the brand, I've always really enjoyed the design aspect of it. So I am definitely really looking forward to making some new merchandise when it comes to sort of t-shirts, hoodies, hats, things like that. When it comes to my inspirations, what I draw from, my interests, I love jiu-jitsu. I'm a huge nerd, so I love anime, things like that. I love rock music. I really like, have you seen like sort of those metal hoodies where it doesn't even look like words, kind of. It's just like lightning across a page. So those are the things that I might be pulling from in the future. But with that being said, I always have to lead consumer first. So whatever we do, I'm definitely going to be getting feedback from the community to make sure that it's things that they want, while still sort of walking that line between making things that I like and I'm interested in, while still bringing the fans along and making sure that they have things that they're going to enjoy as well.
Right. So the March Madness bracket, will have like hot sauces on it, like hot sauce ideas, and then also merch ideas?
So it's going to be, so they chose just food. So
the bracket's just food.
It's going to be just foods.
Food as new food products?
Yes, new food products. So do you want new flavors? Would you be interested in maybe like a Sauce Daddy taco kit, maybe a Sauce Daddy mixed drink sort of kit, things like that? So we also have like an herb oil that we're developing right now, where we take sunflower oil and we essentially steep rosemary, basil, some other herbs into it. It makes this really vibrant green aromatic oil that I love mixing into pasta, from marinades, things like that. So not a hot sauce, but definitely something that I found organically, and that's something that I was already making personally. So just bringing it to the table and saying, hey guys, what do you think about this? Is this something that you'd be interested in?
Right.
And just getting that feedback and moving forward, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm kind of a technical guy. So on a technical level, how do you do a March Madness bracket with fans? Like, is there like a voting thing? You say, okay, we're voting on this tonight?
Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a social media campaign through all of our social media platforms at Sauce Daddy 20 everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. We're at Sauce Daddy 20. And then we're also going to be doing a email campaign with our customers who have joined our mailing list, saying, hey, which one would you like? Respond to this email telling me which one that you want. And then at the end of every week or 2 weeks, I'm going to post the results. And then whoever wins that battle will move next to the bracket. And then eventually, probably about 6 to 8 weeks from now, we'll have a winner. And I'm hoping to have whatever we decide ready to go by the summer. That's the goal.
By the summer. But you'll announce to everyone what the winner is.
Yeah.
So that's such a great idea. It's really good. So tell me about the second sauce here. So it's the same flavor profile, but is it more habanero in it?
Yep. So more habanero, more red serrano. So it's just a change of proportion as you get up. So too hot is obviously the hottest one. So this is sort of in the middle range. But it's actually kind of interesting because the flavor profile, despite the fact that it's the same peppers, that proportion changes the flavor profile of the sauce.
Right.
So it's not just a hotter version of the sauce. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to. I'm going to use the word experiment, even though I know these are finished products. But it's a cool experiment of like increasing the peppers. You get the more heat, but it also completely changes the ratios. It's not just making it spicier, and I think that's really fascinating. Okay, let's get into this one.
All right, let's do it.
And that's a nice pour.
I filled you up.
Right. So apparently we're on the Caribbean heat scale. So we're going to the medium, which is probably a hot. The too hot's going to be really hot.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, it's habanero, right? It's such a great pepper.
Great.
I mean, a lot of people know that and agree with that statement. It's kind of a softball thing to say, but
Hey, doesn't make it any less true.
yeah, no, it's just so, it's good. It just, like, I mean, I can eat pretty hot stuff, and like I've talked about it before with guests, is being able to eat hotter foods, kind of like, it's almost like unlocking levels where you can tolerate the heat, you taste the heat, but you are unlocking your ability to like really taste a habanero pepper. Like right now, my limit of like really tasting the pepper is like a ghost pepper. So if I have a ghost pepper in a sauce, I can taste the ghost pepper flavor more than I can the heat. And it's kind of like lifting weights. Like you start lifting heavier weights, you know they're heavier, but you can do it. And the same thing with the heat. So that's what's really fascinating about this is going up in heat here. It is going up in heat, but it's also, I don't say going up in flavor, but like you're getting more habanero flavor. So that's really brilliantly how you've put that down. So beyond these sauces here, do you have any other peppers you're experimenting with, or you're staying with the habanero for now?
I'm staying with the habanero for now.
It's working.
It's working.
Yeah.
And there's a quote from the guy, I think he made the Billy May barbecue sauces, where he says, "If you like cooking, don't make a business."
Yeah.
Because you will not have time, and he is right. So I definitely am interested in playing with new flavors, new peppers, things like that. I definitely do have some things in the back burner that I play around with whenever I have time. But when it comes to just what my day-to-day focus has been, at least for the past 6 months, just building out the foundation of the business has taken up all of my time.
Yeah.
I barely have time to cook. So
Do you, what's your favorite thing between selling your product, which is like, I know you love the marketing, but selling the product, you're not really like physically making it, right? Like you do it because you need to do it, but you'd rather have a co-packer do it, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or creating new flavors. You think you're like the selling it part?
I do. I think I do enjoy selling it the most.
Yeah.
I definitely do enjoy making new flavors. I always love cooking. I always love getting into a kitchen and just seeing what crazy stuff we're gonna make and if it works out. But it's just something about selling, man.
Yeah, no,
I love it.
That's great. You have that figured out, because there's a lot of people that it's their baby. They want to do everything. But if you try to do it all, you're going to get crushed, and you'll never be able to go a million miles an hour in one direction. Where, you have a co-packer that makes you 10,000 bottles at a time, then you're like, cool, I just have to go sell these now. And you're not worried about your process authority letter and all that. Someone else is dealing with all that extra stuff. So how did you, I'm really digging the heat levels here. How did you kind of zero in on that? Did you have a lot of friends and family that tried it? Did you do markets? Like, tell me about that.
Yep. So pretty much everything that happened when it comes to the sauce happened organically through customer feedback. So our first flavor was this one, the Too Hot sauce. Originally we just had one sauce, our lime and basil hot sauce. So that's what I was going out to our customers with. But we kept hearing the same thing from all of our customers. We love the flavor, but it's too hot for us. So after hearing that for the umpteenth time, you have to listen. So I got into the kitchen, and that's where I sort of started working on the proportions to make a milder sauce. Took that out to the consumers. They said, hey, you're getting there, but it's still too hot. Yep. So I said, okay, let's cut it back one more time. So that's how we got to the mild, the medium, and the hot.
Wow, yeah. That's cool. I don't know of anyone else, I think, that started with the hottest and then started scaling it back. And you'll see as the mild one, people will probably use more of it because it's milder. But that's really great. Yeah. What previous work experience or background do you have that you feel like has really prepared you to be successful in this business?
Well, my day job is that I'm an engineer. I work at Raytheon. I went to Georgia Tech for aerospace engineering. I graduated in 2012.
So what are you doing here?
Hey, I'm a man of many talents.
I see that. I mean,
maybe not talents, many interests.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely do think that that sort of engineering mindset has helped me in some aspects of the business.
How's that?
When I first made my recipe, I wasn't just in the kitchen just throwing some of this, throwing some of that, and then trying to figure out what I did afterward. I luckily had the foresight to write down, okay, a half cup of this, an eighth of a cup of that, how many grams of this, what I did my first recipe. So rather than making something and it being great or being on the way and me being like, man, what did I put in there? I had that, yes. I had the documentation for me to go back and say, okay, I did this time. Let's tweak this, see how it does. Okay, we did an extra eighth of a cup of this. Let's dial it back. I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. So that sort of engineering, iterative, quantitative process definitely helped me sort of save some time when it comes to really refining the recipe, and even outside of that, sort of being able to go out and find information for the business. That's something that I definitely honed at my time at Georgia Tech, and even at my job now, just being able to look at a system that I know nothing about, break it down into its pieces, figure out what I know, what I don't know, and then figure out where I need to go to find that information, and then collate it all together into a system that I can use to my benefit. So that definitely helped me there.
Well, that was about a perfect answer. Well, you're like, well, project management, yeah, to keep this stuff together and everything. But he's like, meh, 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 meh. And that's great too, to be able to take, I know engineers can have a reputation for being very scientist-oriented, not people-oriented. And I'll say this with the most respect possible.
Rip off the Band-Aid.
Well, yeah, but I could just see, okay, you're an engineer, you're, doing a hot sauce show or festival, and someone comes up and they're like, it's too spicy, and you're like, no, it's not. It's perfect. This is exactly right. It's exactly right. Have not like, no, I've engineered this. This is just like Mama makes it.
2 + 2 is 4.
Yes,
it doesn't matter if you don't like it.
It's hot sauce. Eat it or get lost.
Yeah.
So no, it's really commendable about taking people's feedback and then tweaking it, and then same thing with. You said it was your designer or business coach
my designer.
Your designer. Yeah. So tell me about their kind of background. They do a lot of food products, or because this is really great. But do they do food products? They do products in general. They not do products. How did you stumble upon them?
Yeah. So I got really lucky when I met him. I was interviewing co-packers. There's a co-packer down in Hayden, Alabama called Bottle Works that I was lucky enough to meet, and he has a designer that he worked with often that he had known for 10, 20 years. That was Terry. So he introduced me to him, and then it was sort of just off to the races. And when I tell you it was an iterative process, it probably took us 3 months back and forth. Hey, can you make? I didn't even really know what I wanted. I had my original bottle, and I was like, hey, can you make 10 different versions and tell me and bring them back and see what they like?
Of 10 different versions of the artwork.
Of the artwork,
yeah,
yes.
Okay.
So we were doing that, and then actually inspiration kind of struck when I was making business cards for the business, and I saw some sort of really clean, minimalistic not labels, but business cards that I liked, and I printed them out. And I went down to Atlanta, and I was getting brunch with my family. I showed them the cards, and they were like, your label needs to look like this. So I went back to Terry, and I said, hey man, I know we've been doing all this work for 3 months now, and that you've made me 25 different designs, but I think I want to take this in a different direction. And he was lucky. I was lucky enough to have that trust there, and we redid the whole label from scratch, and
to get to this.
To get to this, yeah.
Wow. Are you using sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. That's my curiosity. So are you producing yourself, or you're with the co-packer?
I'm producing myself.
You're producing yourself.
Yeah,
Gotcha. And then the next step, batch, whatever we want to call it, you're hoping to be with the co-packer.
Yeah, the plan is to have a co-packer by April.
Oh, wow. So soon.
Yes.
Soon. Cool. All right. So I think you could tell me about this one, but you already told me about this one. So I'm just going to have you pour it.
All right. Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
And I want you to try it too.
Yeah. But I was telling you before about the thickness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This one was
trying to blow me up.
Yeah. Oh, let me get myself some. Should have brought some napkins. Yeah. But I was telling you about the thickness of Matux, that famous sort of Caribbean sauce. And that's something that I was really trying to bring to Sauce Daddy, because oftentimes when you get a hot sauce, it really doesn't have a thickness like this. It's a little more watery. And something that I've always enjoyed from pepper sauces is sort of that thickness that you get from it. I think it adds a lot of body to the sauce that also translates to whatever you put it on. So
this one looks to be about the thinnest, so it's a little bit thinner, and smells similar. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
You've worn me down. Yep. It's the hottest for sure.
It sort of just builds and builds in the back of your throat a little bit. It creeps up on you.
Yeah. It's good. I'm not sure. It's hard because we've been eating them, so it's hard to. But yeah, it's sneaking up. I can tell it's going to make me start. Blah, 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 blah. Not talking right.
Yeah.
The not talking right sauce. Wow.
And sort of that and that's my favorite thing about it, when you incorporate it into your foods. Something I love to put it on is eggs, or oh my goodness, tacos. You put on some tacos, and that burning is sort of like, you know, when you take a bite of a dessert and it's got that subtle sweetness where you don't really taste it until you swallow it, and it makes you want to take another bite.
Yeah.
It has that same effect on whatever food you put it on. So it's a lot of fun to eat with.
That's really, really good. I mean, I just noticed the little bit of oil in here. Gives it a little bit of that thickness, viscosity. And then I love what you have on here about the no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial preservatives, no high fructose corn syrup, no glutens or GMOs. All that stuff is important and becoming more and more important. It's really nice to see a clean product. So March Madness, I'm excited about that for you. And your co-packer, what else is in the works?
So honestly, most of our focus has just been into getting out into the community, getting that feedback. So last year, we did our first farmers market run. We started our first set of farmers markets last September.
Okay.
So from September to we're in February now. So from September to the end of the year, we sold over 1,500 bottles.
Wow.
Over 1,500 bottles in 3 months. So we were really happy about that.
Mostly at markets.
Mostly at markets, yeah. So this year we're trying to expand the brand recognition even more. So we're going to more markets. We have a plan. We're going to be we did 1 market a week last year. We're going to be doing 4 markets a week this year. We're going to be doing more.
Do you have something you want to say to your boss?
We love you, Brian. But yeah, so we're going to be doing 4 events a week. We're going to be opening up our advertising when it comes to doing some really cool videos, Instagram shorts, things like that. Just to sort of not even from a brand awareness perspective. That's just something I've always wanted to do. I've really always loved sort of cinema and movies and that whole aspect to it. So I'd love to be able to pull that into the brand as well. I'm really just using the brand as an excuse to do all the cool stuff I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
So just sort of taking everyone along that ride.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but this is a great sauce.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
And sauce is, but yeah, that's really good. Well, this has been fun. Where is the best place for people to follow you?
So you can follow me at Sauce Daddy 20 on all social media platforms. So that's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of them at Sauce Daddy 20. You could also check us out at saucedaddy.org and get a lot of more information about me, the brand. We give 5% of everything we sell to a local charity here. because of my dog Hamburger. He passed last year, but he's a big part of the reason why we've been able to get as far as we've gotten too. So
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, so all that information is all over our social medias and our website, so you can check them out there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, Hot Sauce Show.
Thanks for listening to the Hot Sauce Show. Be sure to follow us here and on socials to stay up to date on future episodes.